The new Chinese AI company DeepSeek has completely taken over. It's currently #1 in the App Store, and on top of that has wiped out trillions of dollars in the US stock market, taking from companies like Meta, Microsoft, and even Nvidia. Now, China has officially taken the #1 spot moving forward in the big AI race. But what does that mean for big companies like Broadcom, Nvidia, AMD moving forward in this race? There's a lot of big name stocks that took a huge hit today, and we're going to be talking about the top stocks that you're going to want to look out for to buy and potentially even sell moving forward through the rest of this year. So first things first, let's get some background information about what DeepSeek actually is. Now, DeepSeek is an AI assistant from a little known company in the Chinese city of Hangzhou. I don't know if I actually pronounced that right. Now, DeepSeek is basically compared to OpenAI. That is the company itself. Now, within OpenAI, we have ChatGPT here in the United States. Now, DeepSeek created a similar ChatGPT called R1, and this was released 1 week ago. Now, to basically compare, R1 is the same, if not even better than ChatGPT is here in the United States. And now ChatGPT has a bunch of different models. They have the free version, which you could just log on and use, which probably most of you use, but they have more of a paid version, which are, I believe, is $20 a month, and then the full end version, which is $200 a month, which lets you do unlimited access to all different type of coding and whatnot you can do with it. Now, R1, for example, is completely for free and gives you all that information compiled into just the simple platform of it being open-ended to anybody who wants to use it. Now, the crazy part about all this is that OpenAI and ChatGPT took several years to create, and when ChatGPT was released finally a couple years ago, it took millions and billions of dollars for it to be perfected. Now, they did DeepSeek, created in the year 2023, and was released just last week, and they had a budget of $5.6 million for this to be created. And this right now is, if not the same or better than ChatGPT is. Now, taking a look at the stock Nvidia, you can see here that this was one of the bigger wipeouts that we saw today, down 17% right now, down to $118 per share. This stock was currently trading just on Friday at around $147, and now is trading at lows today at $116, bounced a little bit in after hours up to the 120s area, but still a massive pullback. We're talking almost $7 to $8 trillion lost in the stock of Nvidia, and that's a massive pullback on such a big name that we've seen perform very well throughout the year. And you know what? This is a name that for a long time everyone said was overvalued, overhyped, but continued running up and continued to do well, continued to report strong earnings. And I still believe that this is one of the top picks for the year 2025. Now, yes, this news does rattle the market a little bit, it does change some outlooks, maybe some projections, but it doesn't matter. You have stocks like Nvidia, you have stocks like Broadcom that took massive beatings today. Broadcom was another one, down 17.5%, down $40 on the day. Just a massive pullback from $250, hitting below $200 at one point today. You're seeing these names that just completely tanked to the downside, but you're talking to yourself like, all right, nothing fundamentally actually happened to these companies for it to drop $20, $30, $40 in one day. These are legitimate companies that just lost trillions, and not because of what the company itself changed. Their outlook hasn't changed. It's just the competitors and the competition has changed. And we just got this news that China released this R1 platform, and obviously this is a massive announcement and was something that we were not expecting. We expected our platform in OpenAI to have its ability to basically take control and take the lead in the AI race for at least quite a while. I mean, Microsoft's CEO quoted and basically said that we were ahead of China for 2 to 3 years, and that's what we were looking like. We had that lead, and that we had so much more leverage on them, but we saw all these names take a hit today, and I think that this is a massive overreaction to the downside. You take a look at some of these stocks, and it's just ugly the way that they look, and the way that, you know what, not much has changed with the company itself, but the stock just took a tumble because of the overall, the NASDAQ was down 3.1%, and we saw, names like Nvidia, Broadcom, even AMD took a massive hit today as well. Like, you're seeing these names that have been running for several weeks and months that finally pulled back a little bit. So maybe you're thinking, all right, this is maybe a healthy pullback for it. Now, is it going to rebound tomorrow? there's a potential that we see some buyers that are trying to get back in at a better price. And I think there's still a lot of upside for these names in the long term. So I think that if you are long term with these names and you want to go long term, this is a great buying opportunity because you're able to buy in. The problem that I see here is that there's still a lot of short-term uncertainty. So because of that, we really have to watch how these play out. But I think that you got good names with Marvel, Nvidia, a lot of these names that were trading at such a high level and were continuing to run up for a while are starting to pull back, and people are getting scared. There's a lot of investors that weren't able to stomach the 17% drop from a name like this today, and because of that sold out and just continued selling throughout the day. And that's really what you saw. So because of that, a lot of it today was retail traders selling out. A lot of it today was some buying towards the end of the day. We saw a lot of traders trying to get back in to take some of those lower entry points and to average maybe their cost basis down a little bit. So there's opportunities out there, and I definitely think that you got companies like Marvel Technology, you have Nvidia, you have AMD, you have Broadcom, you have Microsoft. Now Microsoft actually finished with a nice bounce throughout the rest of the day, but took a massive beating throughout pre-market this morning, down to 410, finished up by 430 today. So you see a lot of these reversals of some of these names. I don't know what Netflix ended up. They were kind of flat. There was another one though that some of these names just took a massive beating, but you see like Apple was down to 218 and then finished back up to 230. So you see a lot of these bigger tech names that, okay, the NASDAQ pulled back and there's a lot of scare in the overall market, but how does this really affect a company like Apple? Like, yes, obviously you see that it is scary that China now has that lead and that one up, and it was big news that kind of shocked the world this morning, at least in the stock market world and in the world of open AI and understanding AI. But to be completely honest, it doesn't change the fundamentals and what we see with a company like Nvidia and what they're projected to do and what they're projected to do with Apple. Now, it may shift some things around. We'll have to see with upcoming quarter releases and whatnot, but I still think that you're getting a really, really good deal with a lot of these names, and I think that a company like Nvidia is still definitely something to look into, especially if you're looking for the long term. I think in the short term, you have to kind of sit on the sidelines and see what happens with it. But if you're going for a long-term outlook and you've done your research and you're willing to, sit through some shaky days, then I think that this is a great time to buy. You're buying the dip. You're getting a good deal on a lot of names that are really, really well built companies that have a lot of good potential moving forward, and the future is bright for a lot of these names. And I like the fact that you don't see moves like this with a stock like Nvidia and a company of this size jump from 149 and fall to the downside to 116 just in one trading day. You just don't see that happen. This is massive moves that we don't see very often. So take advantage of it. Buy those dips if you've done your research and you've done your due diligence and you have good conviction on these plays. Definitely something you don't want to miss out on. These are the types of dips that we just got to live for. So let me know down in the comments what stocks you guys are watching for this massive AI tech stock pullback. What stocks you guys are watching. If you guys have any stock questions, comments, or concerns, drop them down below in the comments. If you guys are new here, hit the subscribe button, like the video. I'll see you guys next time.